15-year-old Cara was just visiting her friend Jess after a sleepover. They planned to go to the lake later that day, so Cara offers to quickly water the plants outside while Jess showered. She doesn't know it yet, but this decision would change her life forever. Cara steps into the yard. Out of nowhere, a stranger named Ivonitz approaches her. He forces her towards his car and loads her into a plastic storage bin. Inside the dark trunk, panic sets in. Cara spots a serial number printed on the plastic bin. She repeats it in her head, memorizing every digit. Her composure despite the circumstance is quite commendable. The car suddenly pulls over in a desolate area. Ivonitz opens the trunk and orders her to sit up. He warns her to stay calm, threatening her with a weapon if she disobeys. He fastens handcuffs onto her wrists, places a gag over her mouth, and binds her feet. He slams the lid back down and speeds off. Meanwhile, Jess finishes her shower and walks out. Cara is nowhere to be found. Jess immediately calls Cara's mom, Deborah, to tell her Cara vanished. At the same time, Ivonitz pulls up to his house and takes Cara inside. He unbinds her hands, removes the gag, and unties her feet. He then leads her into the bedroom. Cara's eyes widen as she spots unsettling restraints scattered across the bed. Ivonitz instantly lays down his rules. She must call him daddy. She must obey every single command, reminding her that he keeps a weapon on him at all times. He begins interrogating her about her family and friends. Then he forces her onto the bed. You already know what happens next. Across town, Deborah frantically calls Cara's boyfriend, Ryan, but he has no idea where Cara is. Desperate, Deborah also contacts her separated husband, Ron. He tells her he's heading over immediately. Soon after, a police officer arrives at the house. Deborah explains the situation, but the officer casually suggests Cara probably just ran away. Deborah is furious. She knows the girl she raised. The cop says he'll file a basic report and tells her to wait by the phone. Back at the house, Cara tries to keep her captor talking. She wants to gather information about him. She asks about his past. Ivonitz talks about school and leaving the Navy. He then pulls out a joint and forces her to smoke it. Cara takes a breath and immediately starts coughing. She plays along, asking him to show her how to do it properly. He demonstrates. She asks him to show her one more time, but he refuses, saying she's asking for too much. Cara keeps scanning the room. She notices a fish tank, some guinea pigs, and a bird cage. She asks him about his pets. Through their brief chat, she picks up that he works with air compressors and used to live in San Diego. Shortly after, he forces her to watch explicit videos with him. This guy really sucks. Meanwhile, Deborah goes straight to the Spotsylvania County office. Sheriff Dale offers no help, making ignorant comments that teenagers are always up to something. Back at Ivonitz's house, Cara asks to use the bathroom. Ivonitz agrees, but he follows her to the door and watches her every move. Cara glances around the sink and spots a collection of women's toiletries. She also sees a hairbrush. This guy clearly has a blonde woman living with him. Later, Ivonitz starts preparing dinner while Cara sweeps the floor. She sweeps slowly, eyeing the refrigerator. She notices local contacts on magnets and a calendar schedule linked to the blonde woman. Later that evening, Ivonitz turns on the news, expecting to see a search party for Cara. The screen shows nothing about her disappearance. He taunts her, trying to make her believe her family has abandoned her. What a jerk. He then decides to make a phone call. He gags her once more and locks her back in the plastic bin. Cara struggles for air in the confined space. Sensing her distress, he removes the gag and leaves the bin lid slightly open, warning her not to try anything smart. Moments later, she has a panic attack, so Ivonitz hands her a substance to calm her down. Night falls. Cara sits silently on the floor, watching his every move. Her eyes drift toward a hidden box resting on the floor. Ivonitz notices her glance and instantly shoves the box under. He ushers her back to bed, cuffing her wrists and ankles, and he sleeps right next to her. The next morning, sunlight pierces through the blinds. Ivonitz is snoring heavily. This is her only chance. Before we find out if she escapes, kindly hit the subscribe button so you don't miss our weekly recaps. Back to our story. Cara carefully wriggles her hands and feet, somehow slipping free from the metal shackles without making a sound. She creeps into the living room, unlocks the front door, and bursts outside. Cara sprints straight toward the main road, wildly waving her arms at an oncoming vehicle. The car screeches to a halt. Two men look at her in shock as she begs them to drive her to the police station. She jumps into the backseat, letting out a massive sigh of relief. Way to go, Cara. Cara walks through the doors of the police station, telling the officer at the front desk her name and that she just escaped a kidnapper. The officer looks shocked. He informs Lieutenant Roland, who comes around. Roland immediately unshackles the lingering metal links on her skin. He then guides her into his office to make an official statement. Outside, Sergeant Jennings interviews the two men who picked her up. They give the general neighborhood where they found her, but they can't remember the exact apartment unit. Apparently, they had been distracted by Cara's frantic sight. Since the two men couldn't identify the exact building, Jennings asks Cara if she can lead them back. Cara hesitates, doubting she can remember. But a voice inside her head keeps repeating a simple command: get justice. She agrees to try. Roland and Jennings drive Cara back to the apartment complex. She recognizes the surrounding trees and roads, but every building looks identical. The officers spot a local resident and ask for information, but their description is way too vague. Cara steps out of the police cruiser. She tells the resident that the suspect's windows are completely blacked out and that he keeps birds, rats, fish, and guinea pigs inside. The man's eyes light up. He tells them it's apartment 301. Jennings follows the man toward the unit while Cara is driven back to the station. Moments later, Deborah receives the call that Cara is safe at the station. Overwhelmed with emotion, Deborah rushes down and Cara is finally wrapped in her mother's arms. Deborah holds on to her like she might vanish again. Sheriff Jim from Richland County and a team of heavily armed officers breach apartment 301. The front door flies open. They find everything Cara described, but the entire place is completely empty. Sheriff Jim orders the team to sweep the entire surrounding area. Back at the station, Jennings presents a photo lineup to Cara. Cara points to Ivanitz instantly. Jennings then asks Cara if she can recall any other minor detail. Cara starts spilling a mountain of evidence. She names his exact line of work, his relationship with a blonde woman, and the full names of his family doctor and dentist. She even details the hidden box he shoved into the cabinet. Her attention to details needs to be studied. Back at the crime scene, officers locate the hidden box in the cabinet. Inside, they find the clothes he wore the previous day, along with old newspaper clippings detailing his past crimes across Spotsylvania and his active wanted status. Sheriff Jim contacts Sheriff Dale from Spotsylvania County. The evidence reveals Ivanitz has been committing these exact crimes for years, holding young girls captive, drowning them in bathtubs, and dumping them in swamps. Jennings then enters the room with new information. The blonde woman Cara spotted is actually his wife, Allie. These cops are closing in fast. Ron arrives at the station with Jess and Ryan. They share a tearful reunion, but Cara is exhausted and just wants to go home. Deborah then drives her back. Cruisers park all along Cara's driveway to provide 24/7 protection. But the crowd of armed guards only makes Cara feel trapped. Cara tells her mom she wants to go out and visit Ryan. Deborah is stunned, insisting she stay inside for her safety. Her captor is still out there. Cara snaps back, arguing that she refuses to hide and wants her normal life back. Deborah is just shocked at how quickly her daughter is forgetting this ordeal. Across town, Roland interrogates Ivanitz's wife, Allie. She denies knowing where he is, repeatedly blurting out how much they love each other. Clearly, this woman is hiding something. Suddenly, Ivanitz's sister, Stephanie, walks into the room. She exposes the truth. He is likely on the run with Allie's car using altered license plates. She hands over an address for a local motel where he booked a room under her name. SWAT teams rush to the motel, but Ivanitz was tipped off and cleared out minutes before they arrived. Shortly after, officers receive another tip that he's heading toward his other sister's house in Florida. They contact her, and she reveals the location he planned to meet her. 2 officers in the district are deployed to get him. They spot Ivanitz and initiate a pursuit. They finally corner him, but Ivanitz pulls out a weapon. The officers command him to drop it, but before they can advance, he terminates his own life. The next morning, Deborah happily shares the news with Cara, thinking it will bring peace. Instead, Cara storms off in frustration. Sheriff Jim stops by and finds Cara breaking down in tears. She didn't want a quick escape for him. She wanted him to stand trial and face justice. She wanted him to know that he messed with the wrong girl. Sheriff Jim looks her in the eyes and tells her she's a hero. He assures her that out of all his victims, picking her was the biggest mistake he ever made. Cara walks back inside to her mom. She takes a deep breath, knowing that despite everything, she survived. Make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification to watch more videos like this.